Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Blue Baby. This is the second Blue Baby Daily in a row, and that's a funny string of words to say, and I encourage you to try it out because it's quite fun, Blue Baby Daily. And I couldn't be more excited. It was such a good run. I was feeling pumped, I slept well. It was just one of those days where you're feeling like playing like Isaac, and you just want to perform well and do well. And one thing I didn't really mention about Blue Baby is that because he does start out rather weak, at least in the sense that you really need to be good at dodging if you want to get those devil deals early on, because you really can get hit. He does get a small damage boost, and the damage boost is very insignificant, or it seems that way on the first sight, because he has 3.67 damage instead of 3.5, which means he only gets 0.17 damage up. And that doesn't seem like much, but remember, you dealing damage is not really the most important thing. The most important thing is in how many hits you can actually kill an enemy. So let's say that if you dealt, let's say just for an example, you dealt 9.5 damage, and the enemy had 10 HP, that means you would still need to hit that enemy twice in order for him to die. But if you had 5 damage, it would still be the same, so in that regard, you would actually be dealing the same amount of damage. It's better in some regards, because that means any damage up will push you over the edge, meaning you will be able to one-shot that enemy if you have 9.5 damage, but in that exact instance, you're really not gaining anything by having that amount of damage. So for that reason, the Blue Baby actually does benefit, because it can kill some enemies in 1 or even 2 shots, as opposed to killing them in 3 or 2 shots, depending on which other character you're playing as. So besides that, he's also good in the health department, and this daily actually accumulated quite well what I was saying yesterday, because you only have 3 spirit hearts to work with, and only managed to find 1 spirit heart, or in this case even half a heart. I think I got hit once. It was quite a tough decision, we go in the devil deal, we can only take 1 item, and we certainly have to if you want to stay competitive, because later on we want a higher chance to actually get yet another devil deal, which would hopefully give us something really strong. So in this case, I decided to fair shot, because it was only damage up, the other 2 weren't really that significant, and I decided to keep the poop and not take Book of Belial, just because I did have the petrified poop trinket, and in this case, having the petrified poop trinket means every time I use my poop, there's quite a higher chance of me getting a coin or maybe a spirit heart out of the poop I can kill, and for that reason I decided to stick with it, and I decided to take fair shot. And also because we managed to pick up quad shot on the same floor, that means we're dealing increased damage over the 4 of our shots that we actually shoot. And because the damage up with quad shot doesn't really come in tiers, but just in the fact that you're shooting more tiers, which means that any damage up kind of amplifies the damage you do by 4 times, I decided that was maybe the best way to go in that particular situation. But it was a decision I had to make. So should I go to the devil deal and just take 1 item, and then I left 1 health up outside, and you saw me not picking up that breakfast outside, and the reason for that was, if I did get an item which let me respawn, what I wanted to do is actually kill myself, respawn, and then I would have that health to pick up later. But of course, when I saw that there was no such item in the devil deal, I decided to just skip it altogether, and I just picked it up after I went out, because in that exact situation, it wouldn't have really mattered if I had 1 additional health. The only way that could have came back and actually bit us in the ass is if we were fighting Krampus, and in that case we would have 3.5 hearts as opposed to 4.5 hearts. But in that, I think that in that situation, Krampus is gonna hit you maybe once or twice on those early floors, but not more. So I didn't really feel like I was in danger. So for that reason, I decided to do it that way. But in this case, we're actually looking quite strong. A lot of people, after I've been reading the comments, have said that this was a pretty weak daily at the start. And I have to agree, it was quite a slow one, but it didn't really feel that weak. Especially as of this point on, even though we are at the 14-minute mark, and we only have 5 minutes and a half to get to Mom, I was feeling pretty comfortable that I can get it, and mostly because I had Sacrificial Dagger. Sacrificial Dagger allows us not only to kill enemies, but also to kill Mom in a very, very fast amount of time. And what certainly helped is that we managed to find the arrow room here and got both Judas the Shadow and penetrative shots. So when I picked up those 2 items, even though I had 5 minutes to clear 2 floors, I wasn't feeling too scared, because I knew as soon as they revive, I'm gonna be back with just a ton of damage, 4 shots, and all of those are gonna be penetrative, which means we can just deal with enemies super easily. And yeah, I was reading that a lot of people had a problem with this run, and I agree, it was definitely a slow one. It wasn't weak per se, but it was just one of those runs that kind of needs preparation to get going. And the main reason for that is the golden teleporter. I think it's called Teleported 2.0. And that's an item that I feel, I would say it's underappreciated. It definitely was when it first came out, but this item is such a great item for dailies. If you can have it for a long time and not find a better spacebar item, obviously if you find a better spacebar item, that's what I was trying to say, you're gonna take it, because the golden teleporter, what it offers you is just a lot of utility and just map control if that's even a thing in Isaac. But what it allows you to do is essentially explore in any dead end, and as soon as you find that dead end, you can use the golden teleporter to go to the closest unexplored room. And at the start, I thought that this was a that was a bad thing. Why would you ever use that if you can just walk back to it? But it's actually extremely useful because you're trying to get to Bomb and you're trying to get to Hush in time. So having the ability to actually teleport in some way, actually even manipulate how often or where you'll find those boss rooms, can lead to some great success. So for example, what you could do is you would go to every room except the boss room, then you would go explore, and then as soon as you use the golden teleporter, you wouldn't have to walk through the whole floor again, but you would just get teleported straight back. Of course, the golden teleporter, that's not the only strength that it has. It also offers you to visit rooms like the Devil Deal and the Error Room, and of course in our case the Error Room gave us two items that essentially carried our game from that point forward. And it's not just useful for getting potential broken items, but also every single Devil Deal you visit and every secret room and second secret room, and of course even the Error Room, gives you additional exploration bonus. And for that, I would say that the Golden Teleporter is one of those quintessential items in dailies that when you pick it up, you should hold on to it, unless, like I said, a really much better spacebar item goes along. It's not that useful in single player mode just because score isn't that relevant, but it's always fun to go to the Error Room because it happens so rarely nowadays, because there's so many pills. Back in the day, the only way to get to the Error Room was to actually eat a telepills, and then you would get teleported to that particular room, and it was quite hard to do because most often you wouldn't use random pills as it is, and if you knew it was a telepills, you would even not use those on some floors because you could skip Mom accidentally, which means you wouldn't be able to pick up the Polaroid, and then you wouldn't be able to get to the chest and get 4 more additional items and actually complete the run like you're supposed to. And now with us having so many more pills, the chance of actually finding the telepills is much lower, and then on top of that, there's only like a 6% chance to actually get teleported to the Error Room. So you don't really see it that often, even though there are some items which are just kind of dedicated to just seeing the I Am Error Room, and I'm glad that there's a way to actually get to that room other than having to use the telepills. But of course, I'm also glad that there's that old position or strategy to get there as well. In some cases it's gonna happen, and really Isaac is about those small fringe cases that just look cool and aren't maybe that super useful. So here I actually made a very crucial decision, not going to the Error Room, of course, because that would mean we would miss Hush entirely, we would go to the next floor, but also what I did, I had the 2 of Spades card, and it was Curse of the Lost, so I didn't really know where I was going, so there was a decision that I had to make in that situation. So should I just go to the next floor, try to fight Hush, and keep the 2 of Spades card, and then use it at the end to get some additional points? And of course, that's something I could have done, and I should have done. And I should have done it, you'll see what I mean later on. But as soon as I actually considered that, I figured it would be a much better idea to go to the boss room, drop the 2 of Spades card there, and then go back to pick up the Emperor card, and then explore at least 1 or 2 more rooms, because that way, of course, I get some additional bonus, but then I can use my Emperor card and still keep the 2 of Spades card when I get teleported to the boss room. And I decided to do exactly that. I only had like 50 seconds to maneuver, so I didn't really expect to get a huge benefit out of it, but thankfully what happened is I managed to find the Head of the Keeper, and the Head of the Keeper was just a great pickup. We had 5 shots out of every shot, and each of them splits into 4 more shots because of Cricket's body head. I'm not sure, I think it's Cricket's body, but essentially the item that splits your shots in 4 when you hit. So that means we're just generating a ton of coins on the Hush fight. And we also ingested, or I guess ate or applied the trinket of the burnt penny to ourselves, which means that every time we pick up a coin, there's a 50% chance of us getting a bomb. So you can imagine having like 100 coins in the room means we get 50 bombs. So just in that general, we got a lot of consumables for making that play, and I was kind of proud of it. It was something that I don't think I've ever done before, but in that situation it turned out to be absolutely the right play. And especially, of course, that could have been avoided if I was just a little bit of a better and a faster player. I wouldn't be in a hurry to actually get the Hush, but as it turned out, because it was Curse of the Lost, I did get lost a bit, and I didn't actually go back and do the things I should have done. And it turned out as it did, I'm not really sad that it happened, but obviously me exploring a few more rooms would have granted me just a little bit of a higher spot. But as it is, I can't be too mad, because this run is actually going extremely well at this point. I said if you get a Mega Satan run that gets at 50,000 points, that's usually a very decent run already. So to have a run that goes only to the lamp, lamp is like 1 stage before Mega Satan, and still get almost 50,000 points, in this case I get 49,200, you can imagine that that's also a very, very decent run. And I really like the new trinkets and the new items and the new pills, which eat your trinkets and then add them to your passive effects. And I think it's such a novel and a great idea. I don't know why it hasn't been implemented yet, but I have to say by far that is one of my favorite changes of Afterbirth Plus, that you can actually ingest and use those items. And remember previously when I said I should have used my Two of Spades card? Yeah. See, I didn't use my Two of Spades card. I was saving it. Obviously, that was a good play to make because I want to get as many coins as possible to then duplicate them. And in this case, I would have gotten 17 more keys, which I think is like 400 points. And that's not a negligible amount of points. I think it would have raised my rank from like 7th to 5th. And maybe it's better this way because being 7th is kind of okay. You say you're in the top 10, but being 5th, you'll say that, you know, I'm not in the top 3 again and the game is teasing me. But overall, a very, very strong run. The fact that we got Head of the Keeper, so many coins, we got that item combination, I was able to swallow the burnt penny. And that's funny because we have a swallowed penny, so now we can actually swallow other trinkets as well. And maybe I'm going off on a tangent, but the fact we had that really, really cool item combination did allow us to get just a bunch of points. And obviously, the shout out to the MVP, the Golden Teleporter, which allowed us to explore pretty much every single room that we possibly could. And of course, getting that clutch Dark Judas and penetrative shots to kind of close this game out. And with that said, we did finish in the 39th place, which is a decent score. And of course, remember, there's always cheaters in front of us. So once we weed those out, this is like a top 10 score again. And again, I'm really glad that we're doing this. And I'm glad that when I say I have a favorite character, I'm also performing well as him. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. And I hope to see you next time.